Joining me now to talk about the Democratic presidential race is Finney. She's the communications director for the Clinton campaign. Karen, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be with you. One correction, I don't want my boss to get mad at me. I'm a senior advisor and communications advisor. Jennifer Palmieri is our communications director.
All right, I just promoted you, but
thank you.
Maybe that'll come across in the next contract. Thank you.
Okay.
So just bluntly to start off, why did Clinton lose Michigan?
Well, look, I mean, it was a state where Bernie Sanders they outspent us. They had more people on the ground. It was clearly as a must-win state for Senator Sanders. And while it was close, he came out with the win. I think it's as simple as that. I also think it's quite clear that the polls were wrong.
Well, no question. We've seen a lot of precedent for that, but there were signs in his victory that could be worrisome going forward, because Sanders, he didn't just win over young people and independents. He also made inroads among blue-collar voters there. I just wonder, how does the Clinton campaign eliminate that disconnect going forward?
Well, look, I think we're going to take a look at the next 5 states, and I think Senator Sanders will have the opportunity to demonstrate that he's able to put together the coalition that you absolutely must have to win, and that includes African-American voters, Latinos, women. So he's, he hasn't quite yet demonstrated the ability to, put that full coalition together. Meanwhile, Hillary has won in the North and the South and the East and the West, and put together, a very diverse coalition of voters. So we're going to be working hard, moving towards Ohio and those other states for next week, and making sure that they understand her message about the importance of job creation, how she wants to increase incomes.
No, we're familiar with the message, but I do have to ask you, because there's this story, and people were talking about this last night. Hillary Clinton, she's going to wrap it up last night, and again, not able to do that. I just wonder how you fight that sort of sense of disappointment, or that the momentum can't build enough behind her candidacy. A lot of Democratic voters still have questions about her.
I mean, Jim, come on. All due respect, I mean, it was, she trounced in Mississippi, and we still ended the night very much in the lead, and frankly, very much in a very strong position going forward. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about getting to the number of delegates needed to secure the nomination, and 4.8 million people have come out and voted for Hillary Clinton. So, I understand. I've worked in television. I understand that we want to keep this going and we want to create the drama around it. But let's not forget the facts, and the facts remain that Hillary is very much in the lead. And again, our hope is that we'll continue to pull away next week, and we're going to work hard to make sure that that's what happens.
Well, let me ask you this, because I certainly don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but looking ahead to the possibility of a general election, there are Democrats I've spoken with who say that, let's say it is Trump versus Clinton, that there are issues that Trump actually matches up pretty well with Hillary Clinton, particularly blue-collar voters who are upset about trade agreements, for instance, signed by Hillary Clinton's husband, but also the loss of jobs, that he's eating into a base that you might have expected her to be able to rely on. And I wonder how significant a concern that is. And again, not to get ahead of ourselves, but in a potential Clinton-Trump matchup.
Well, but here's the thing. I understand why Senator Sanders' campaign wants to talk about the 90s and, attack Hillary Clinton for the things that her husband did, rather than actually talking about her own record when she was a senator. And in the Senate, she voted against CAFTA, the trade agreement, and she's voted against other trade agreements. So I understand why they don't want to talk about that, but we're going to keep talking about that. And that's part of why we're also going to keep talking about what her ideas are, all of which are paid for, all of which are very well thought out, in terms of how we create jobs, how we incentivize the private industry to, support communities that have been left behind, invest in those communities, make sure we protect healthcare, make sure we're increasing incomes. So there's some very different ideas that Hillary has about those things than does Senator Sanders. And clearly, I think it's pretty obvious Hillary is nowhere near ever going to run a campaign on the kind of bigotry and bluster that we're seeing from the Republican side, led by Donald Trump. So we feel good about where we are, and we think we have a message that is resonating with people. It is true to their lives. We feel, good going into tonight. I think the debate will be quite interesting, and we feel good about next week.
We will have to leave it there. Senior advisor to the Clinton campaign. We got that right. Finney, thanks for coming on.
Thanks.